Good morning. We're back. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I am BKP, and we're starting this 8:30 segment with the representative, state representative, 11th district, Representative Rick Jasperse. Rick, can you hear me, sir? Representative Jasperse?
Absolutely. I'm here at my home in Jasper.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. And I think everybody out there, we've pushed it out on social media. Everybody out there knows what we're going to have a discussion on. And what we're going to talk to the Representative Jasperse about is the campus carry bill, what's known as the campus carry bill that Governor Nathan Deal vetoed yesterday. Give us a little background of that, because this goes back a couple years with legislation, Mr. Jasperse. This goes back a couple years, and campus carry's been in a bill a couple times and been pulled out. So give us a little background on campus carry.
Well, thanks for letting me talk and be with you this morning, And the way I say it is the campus safety bill. And, just like yesterday we had an armed robbery at Georgia Tech campus. Something happened at Fort Valley State, down the middle of the state. And, this bill, we've just worked hard, probably since 2012, with different versions, trying to, get it through. I had one that I got through right to sine die on day 40 in the Senate. The Senate let it die and on a conference committee vote. And then we went, a year to a year, it didn't do anything. And then we came back with the current bill, which, it's all about campus safety and not making students victims. And, we're just very clear about that. That's all it's about. That's like a very simple bill, easy to understand. But, we've been working on it. We've had great support. I've got to tell you, two people just especially, excuse me, just been like just rock solid behind us the entire way is John Meadows from Calhoun and David Ralston from Blue Ridge. Those two guys have just stood behind me, helped me, encouraged me when it gets tough. I mean, Brian, it's pretty brutal at times. I mean, all the different people coming at you. For either you're not doing enough, going far enough, or you're doing way too much, and excuse me, you're going to cause mayhem throughout the state. So those two guys, Speaker Ralston and Chairman Meadows, have just been the best. And I've also had some great partners, Mandy Ballinger from Canton. She's just been super. Alan Powell from way over in Hartwell has, just been rock solid. And Dusty Hightower down in Cedartown, they've just been great.
Well, you have been working for several years, Representative Jasperse, on what I say protecting Georgians' Second Amendment rights, restoring their Second Amendment rights, or however you look at it. You've been working on that for years. I have a picture that Lonnie's going to put up. You and I met on a Saturday morning 3 years ago down at Jasper, and there's a picture of you at the table, and I'm not in it, but you and I are sitting at that table on a Saturday morning three years ago talking about, and this is the year that it got to sine die, and it did not get voted on. And then you brought it back the very next year. But the next year, as 2 years ago, the campus safety portion got pulled out. That was the compromise. For some of us around the state, I got two questions. What did the governor see? Let me make this statement. I'll let you have it here. What did the governor see that he could not go forward and sign this bill? One. And two, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. How much power is the Board of Regents exercising over the citizens of the state of Georgia and the University of Georgia system? This Chancellor Hank Huckabee is the Chancellor of the Board of Regents. He is a friend of the Governor Deal's, and Governor Deal appointed him. And my words, Representative Jasperse, he seems to be running the show. That's my thought. What say you?
Well, let's do one at a time.
Okay, I was going there a little bit. One at a time.
Okay, the first one, what did he see? I think, for those who are listening and watching, Governor Deal made a pretty long, for a veto statement, a very long statement. But just really in summary, he looked at the Heller decision, which was the Supreme Court decision a few years, last year, or two ago, saying that, the Second Amendment rights are limited. There are places where government can limit the free access to Georgians, that's my look at it, to carry a weapon. And he's used that as the basis for his veto of this. And that college campuses, just were not places where Georgians should legally be able to carry. And our obvious argument is some Georgians are illegally carrying them now and making our students victims because the state getting in the way of their Second Amendment rights. And, we're just committed to it. I know the leadership in the House and Senate, Lieutenant Governor, we've all worked real closely together, Brian. These are tough issues. Governor Deal said in some statement I read this morning that it's been a tough year to be a governor. Yeah, because we've pushed them as Republicans, conservative Republicans, like Steve Gooch, our senator up here. We're just conservative guys. We want to restore people's rights, to the Second Amendment. They've been taken away for years and years. They were taken away, and now that we're in the Republican majority, it's one of those things that we feel very strongly we need to work on. And they're tough issues. There are people against it, but it's time for good Georgians who are conservative, who believe in the Second Amendment rights, that we should stand up and work hard to restore them. And I just differ with the governor on that. There's some people who think that Brian or Rick, if they're in a classroom with a concealed weapon and they're 21 years and over with a Georgia weapons carry license, is going to be there threatening other students and teachers from the free exercise of education. Well, that's the farthest thing from truth. I mean, in Colorado, they've had this for umpteen years. It doesn't happen there. I'm sorry, I'm just ranting, but
No, I agree, and I respectfully take issue with the governor saying it's a tough year to be the governor. I mean, I will say public opinion and everything from religious liberty bill, and we won't get into that, but from that bill to this bill here. For me, these are my words, it seems like a tough year for him to be a conservative. The founding fathers worked out the tough issues for us. So the governors, and I say plural because there's a lot of them nationwide that continue to bring these issues up and call them tough issues. To me, they're not tough issues. They're issues that the Constitution, the founding fathers took hours and they took days and years, so on and so forth, to put together to make these issues your rights. So I for one, don't take that wrong. I disagree with the governor that it's a tough year to be the governor. I don't think it's ever a tough year to do the right thing, and those are my words, okay? So.
Oh, well, that's a good point. I mean, and I guess that's why I'm after Sonny died after day 40, I was, at peace with it. I knew it was going to be, it could be vetoed, but, and I told my daughter, I don't know if you know, but I stay with my daughter sometimes, who lives in Atlanta during the session. It's been just wonderful. You get to talk to her every night and tell her some nights and tell her what's going on. But I said, when I first put that in, I said, governor might veto this thing. I said, I have confidence in the House and the Senate, that they agree that they're going to pass it. But I just wonder. And she reminded me of that last night that I had said that. So, I mean, but you're right. It's there's no backing down from doing the right thing. That little Babe Ruth quote, I just love it. When he said, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from taking a swing. And I think that's how I went about this. I mean, in legislation that pushes some people's sensitivity zone, you got to get in there and be committed to it. And I think, David Ralston, John Meadows, Alan Powell, Representative Ballinger, we've been committed to it. And many of our House members, and Senate members have been too. They've just stood by Senator Bethel over in Dalton. Just been a great supporter. You're very calm, thoughtful, and you just got to do the right thing. And I think we have. I'm proud we have.
I think you have too. But let me ask you a question. 2 years ago, you pulled out the campus safety portion when we when you passed open carry 2 years ago. And I actually watched and videoed that day the governor sign it. We had a big bill signing ceremony here in Ellijay, right down here on the Coosawattee River, and you were there, and the governor came up and signed that bill of open carry. And what statistically has changed since he signed that bill? Have you seen increase in gun violence? Have you seen anything statistically in that bill of 2 years ago that points to this could be a problem on campuses? Any statistics coming out of the bill that was signed 2 years ago?
Great question. I mean, that's the bottom line of this whole thing. You know, when you listen to the liberal media and the people wringing their hands, pulling their hair out over House Bill 60, that's the one you're talking about.
Yes.
The absolute Wild West was going to occur. I mean, it was going to be terrible. They named it the Guns Everywhere bill, and nothing's happened. And I think that's a testament to the good Georgians who have got these background checks, who responsibly carry their weapons amongst us all throughout our communities. Nothing has happened. You know, and you know, on campus carry, you know, the governor or somebody really put in his ear that we needed to keep them out of daycare centers at colleges and universities and wherever. And there's no data to support it, because right now everyone carries, well, there's no restrictions on carrying a weapon to a daycare now if you have a license or concealed, you know, open, and then, but nothing's happened. In all of those years we've had this, nothing's ever happened. So why would we, again, restrict in one area when nothing's happened?
You know,
because our Georgians have been good. They've done the right thing.
If you look at, and I know you keep up with this stuff because of working on this bill and many more concerning the Second Amendment. If you look statistically, it's not men that are actually getting the permits, the carry permits alone. I mean, women in this state, the women in the state. I mean, there's a whole lot of ladies around the state of Georgia that have their permits. And if they're leaving for work this morning, or they're going into a store and it's 9 o'clock at night and they've worked all day and they've got to walk across a big, long, dark parking lot or whatever. You and I have talked about this. I mean, I just really think, I don't think we look at this in the total circle of what it could do as a deterrent. Just knowing that somebody can have a weapon is different than using the weapon itself.
I know, yeah, absolutely, Brian. And, you know, you look at the statistics, you know, that how many people have gotten licenses in the last 2 years, it's off the chart. I mean, some counties have had to add employees. They're getting so many, and equipment, and it because so many people are taking advantage of what we did in House Bill 60 and what we did, you know, Tim Bearden's bill and Mitch Seaball's bill even before that. So, you know, we've empowered Georgians, and I guess that's one thing that I bring up to a lot of college professors who wring their hands over this. I said, why do you want to make the women that are in your room a victim? But why are you putting that burden on them and not allowing them the opportunity if they need to? And it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know if you've ever carried a weapon concealed on you, but it's a big deal. It's a very responsible moment. It's not something you take lightly. And I keep asking them, repeatedly, oh, well, I just don't want them in my classroom. I said, well, you don't care. You don't care about that student that you're looking at, because you don't know what's happened in her life or his life that's caused them to need to carry that weapon.
I have to tell you the truth. If half those teachers knew, and I'll say this right now, I do not know, but if half of those college professors and instructors knew that some of the ladies were coming in there and in some of those bags they were carrying, they might already have something in there, and they're not waiting for the governor, and they're not waiting for anybody to say that they can't protect themselves. You know, they need to think that out. One more, I got two more things. One thing the media keeps doing, and I just don't like, is they keep framing this with 18-year-old and partying on campus, and do you really want to add guns to a frat party? You know what? That's ridiculous. That just is saying, you know what? we can't be responsible, so you can't do it. And they keep saying that 2/3 of the college campuses are made up of 18 to 21, and you have to be 21 to carry. Well, you know, they're really taking that playbook the wrong direction. They got a lot of disrespect for the people that are 28, 32. I mean, I have a friend that I'm going to say nicely in their 50s. They went back to law school, and they got a law degree. I mean, so they really are trying to frame this with our young adults that go to college just are not prepared to be able to take a gun, and so why bother with it? Do you see the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. I saw it on television this morning. You know, when they were talking about campus carry, and they showed a gentleman open carrying a sidearm. Well, that's not what this bill did. This bill is a concealed carry. You know, and they repeatedly say that when, you know, in the college system, let's say University of Georgia Tech, Southern, you know, there is a pretty small group of people, like 25 to 30%. But in our technical schools, it could easily be 75 to 80% of people that could if they chose to. But that 25 or 30% at major institution, wherever it might be in downtown Atlanta or wherever, changes the atmosphere for a criminal. Because then when he looks at Brian or he looks at Rick or he looks at a young lady walking across the campus at 9:30 at night to go check her biology experiment or whatever she's got to do, he's got to think twice. Is she armed or isn't she? And that's what this is about, not making people become victims. And I'm, you know, glad to talk about it anytime.
Well, let me wrap up this. Number one, Governor Deal says it's a hard year to be a governor, but guess what? He's governor next year too. So two things. I wonder how hard it will be to be governor next year. And do you come right back next year and put the same bill in? Because for me, I don't change a word. If it's me, I don't change a single word, because we're talking about a bill that unanimously passed the House, passed the Senate, and went to a governor's desk, meaning both chambers felt vetted. I know you go through judicial, you go through everything with these bills. And both chambers felt that this bill was ready for the governor to sign. So do you go back with the same bill and just do the same thing over, or are there concessions that the governor's asked for that you may put in, and will you do this again next year?
Well, I'm sure we will look at it again for next year. And I'll sit down with Speaker Ralston and Chairman Meadows, and we'll think about, you know, if we're going to change anything and what it would be, if we would. You know, I don't know that we will. You know, this is absolutely, you know, but if you read his decision that's out there in public on his website, he's not going to sign it, I don't think, no matter what we do. If you really read it, think about what it says. So it's something to consider. I think it's going to be one of the issues that will be part of the next governor's election. You know, if we were to drop another bill, pass it again.
Well,
But I do want to say one thing. It wasn't unanimous. The Democrats, just about to a person, voted against these bills.
Well, we know that. All Democrats voted against the bill, including the governor. I'm sorry, I said that. All right, please forgive me out there, folks. You opened the Democrat door, I had to go through it, Representative Jasperse.
Well, you know, they did. You know, they dropped bills that would even allow, you know, the Democrats dropped a bill in this session that would allow them to come to your house to confiscate weapons. So there is a big difference. And I think people need to know that, what the Democratic Party in Georgia thinks about Second Amendment rights and what the Republican Party. You know, we may not get everything just right and the way people want it, but we're trying to improve people's rights. And the other party, they're ready to take them from you, just like they did when they were controlled for 100 years.
Well, I do know it went to the governor's desk, meaning both houses down there found the bill acceptable to send to the governor. And my opinion is I'd send the same one right back, and I'd dare him to do it again. But then again, I know you won't give up the fight, will you?
No, sir.
No, I know.
No. And I think when you and I talked yesterday, you made the best point. I mean, is that, you know, when I ran for this office in 2010, Second Amendment was the number one thing I was asked about. I don't care if it was in Calhoun, here, wherever. That was number one. And that's what people really want to make sure that the legislators that they send to Atlanta are going to defend and improve their Second Amendment rights. And we've been working hard at it ever since. Now I'm working on lots of other things too, health care and agriculture issues, but this is one that's always very near and dear to our heart.
Well, your district should be proud to know that you do defend in every way possible against, no matter what the powers are. And I know you've had to go through a lot of struggles down there in Atlanta, but you do everything you can to defend their Second Amendment and get legislation passed at where they could enjoy carrying their weapon and feel safe. So I think that's to be commended, Representative Rick Jasperse.
Thank you.
We have a Republican nominee now, a presumptive. It came from the big guy last night. The big guy, Reince Priebus, I guess, the head of the RNC. We have a nominee, so we have to get to work and get to work on anybody but Hillary, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I was a Cruz guy. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the way I am.
Don't apologize. We're good with that.
I mean, but now it's our turn that we've got to make sure we get our friends who may not just be all warm and fuzzy. I'm going to vote for Trump, absolutely, because I ain't going to vote for Hillary.
There you
go. You sit on your couch at home and let that lady. Not voting is a no vote. I mean, people got to understand that. Not voting is a no vote, and so we got to vote for our man, or whoever he picks as his vice president.
Well, I think we both know the last election we heard from the RNC, the state RNC, also of the 4 million that didn't go to the polls, or the 5 million that didn't go to the polls, and the reason why Barack Obama is because people stayed home and didn't go to the polls. We need to switch that now. People do not need to let Hillary Clinton. Representative Rick Jasperse from the 11th District, I appreciate you having you on this morning. I appreciate all your hard work getting that to the governor's desk. I regret he vetoed it, but we're behind you all the way as you continue the fight to protect the Second Amendment for the citizens of Georgia.
Thank you so much. It's so been good to be with you today.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. I know I always bump into you at an event somewhere, so I can't wait to see you and your lovely wife. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been on the line with Representative Rick Jasperse from the 11th District down here in Jasper, and we've been talking about the campus carry bill that the governor vetoed yesterday. He sponsored that bill. He's been working hard on that bill. He got HB 62 years ago, but we're going to take a brief break. I am BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're going to take a brief break, and these following commercials are paid for and brought to you by the candidates. Lonnie, take us to break.